This is a set of 4 cinema lenses from 7Artisans. Now they are designed specifically for Super 35 or APS-C sensors. However, if you have a full frame sensor, you might want to consider checking these out as well. Now, in general, cinema lenses are very expensive. So if you're looking for a way to get into cinema lenses, this is probably some of the cheapest lenses that you can get your hands on. So let's check them out. Let's see how good they are for the money. In this set, there is a 12mm t2.9, a 25, 35, and 50mm all at t1.05, which is very bright. The lenses come in black boxes. They are all packaged similarly with a bag of thumb screws, a user manual, and nice foam padding. All lenses come with a plastic rear lens cap and a metal front lens cap. In terms of the body and the design, they are a little bit different, however. The sizes and weights are all different, unfortunately, but apart from the 12mm, the other 3 all share the same placement of the aperture ring and the focus ring, so if you are swapping lenses on a rig, that makes things a little bit easier. The build is excellent, it's all metal and glass, and these are, as a result, quite heavy lenses. The 12mm being the smallest and the lightest, and the 25mm being the largest and the heaviest. They are not weather sealed, they are all completely manual, and each one is a bit different than the other in terms of lens elements, especially in the front. Now, when professionals go out and buy cinema lenses, from what I've heard and what I've read, they are looking for the set of lenses to be identical in terms of size, in terms of weight, in terms of color, and where the gears are located, etc. With this set from 7Artisans, that is part of the compromise. They are not identical in size and weight. The placement of the gear rings is different, and beyond that, the resistance levels of the gear rings are all over the place. The 50mm is very smooth and light to rotate, whereas the 25mm is quite stiff and heavy by comparison. And in terms of color, well, we will get to that in a little bit. The nice thing about 7Artisans sending these lenses out for review is that they also sent out this nice little Pelican style padded case for the set of 4. Unfortunately, the cutouts are not exactly even close to being correct to fit these lenses snugly, so they will either be in here wobbling about as you transport them, or you'll have to figure out a new insert. But anyway, who cares about cases when you have such a cool little set of cinema lenses? These are compact enough to really throw into a normal sized camera bag anyway. So now let's move on to performance. I shot a little skit with my wife and my Sony FX30, and here's how that turned out. So the first thing that I'll say about this set of lenses is that it allows you to create movies and videos. However, if you are expecting perfection, well then you are going to be disappointed. I would not consider these to be clinically sharp lenses. I did a quick little side-by-side with the 50mm, which is probably the sharpest of the group, and my Sigma 56mm, both wide open, f1.4 versus t1.05, and the result was both surprising and not surprising. In the center of the frame, the lens is decently sharp. In the corners, it is both dark because of vignetting and soft. Stop the Cine lens down to t4, however, and you see an immediate improvement in brightness and sharpness. So I would summarize their sharpness as decently sharp in the center of the frame, a little bit soft and dark in the corners, but if you stop them down, they become perfectly usable across the entire frame. And this applies to every single lens here. The 50 is sharp in the center and soft and dark in the corners with a bit of barrel distortion. The 35 is the exact same, maybe a little less barrel distortion. The 25mm has a super weird mustache pincushion distortion with very dark corners wide open, and the 12mm is back to slight barrel distortion and heavy vignette. And something to note here is because these lenses are manual, there are no in-camera corrections that are applied to your photos or your videos. In terms of chromatic aberration and flaring, boy, there is stuff to be said. Flare performance goes from horrible in the 50 to better with the 35 to better with the 25 to pretty good with the 12mm. These lenses do not come with lens hoods, but I think an aspiring filmmaker would be using all sorts of matte boxes and filters though, so who knows. Chromatic aberration is pretty bad across the board again, with the 50mm being the worst and the 12mm being the best, but that is to be expected when you are shooting wide open at t1.05. I've never seen such a fast lens do well with chromatic aberration, and again, if you do stop these lenses down, the fringing eventually disappears. As for colors, I found them to be surprisingly consistent. This is with no color grading, straight out of the camera with my a6100. It's not bad at all. It looks like the lenses are a set, even though the designs and the coatings do appear to be different. And these shots also show you what the bokeh looks like at various focal lengths. It's nice and smooth with the 50mm, nice and smooth with the 35. You get some unique swirliness with the 25mm, which I quite like, and the 12mm, yeah, there's not much bokeh at a distance. Which reminds me, these lenses are remarkably good at close minimum focus for being a set of cinema lenses. The ultra-wide in particular can focus about 3 inches from the subject, whereas the 50mm needs about 1.5 feet. Next, let's discuss focus breathing, which is a very important thing if you are using cinema lenses. It is preferable to have no focus breathing whatsoever, and in that regard, these lenses are not bad, but they do have a little bit of breathing. Some are a little worse than others, but again, not bad overall. Last up, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that you might want to consider these lenses if you have a full frame sensor, because they do cover a little bit more than just a Super 35 sensor. In particular, the 35mm almost covers the entire full frame, but the corners are dark, and the 12mm covers more than you'd expect it to. So with a slight crop in active stabilization mode on a newer full frame Sony camera, these lenses could potentially work. So overall, there are a number of positive things with these lenses, and there are a number of negative things as well. But you have to factor in the price. These are probably some of the cheapest, if not the absolute cheapest cinema lenses that you can get out on the market today. The entire set, well, you can get the entire set for about $1,500, but individually you can buy these lenses for as cheap as $300 for the 12mm, and it goes up to $500 for the 25mm. So you can buy one, you can buy the whole thing, whatever it is. And really, even if you buy the entire set for $1,500, that's probably cheaper than about 95% of cinema lenses out on the market. Even so, for most people, these lenses don't make sense, especially if you are just a casual photographer or a video creator or a hobbyist. You buy these lenses if you want to have that cine lens experience, in which imperfections are seen as cool, manual focus is everything, and building out rigs is just as fun as shooting the content itself. If you want a set of clinically sharp, well-performing lenses, I'll repeat myself by saying you should look at the Sigma 16, 23, 30, and 56, because all of those lenses have autofocus. They're super duper sharp, probably the sharpest lenses that you can get for a Super 35 sensor. But using those is easy. Why do that when you can complicate everything and force yourself to carry around heavy, vintage look producing cinema lenses that require manual focusing and have enough charming flaws that will impress perhaps many people out there. Ultimately, they are tools just like normal tools, and for some people, using an axe will always be superior than using a chainsaw, even though a chainsaw is faster and easier and more convenient and results in a cleaner product at the end. Maybe that's part of the fun, I don't know, but hey, if you are looking to dive into the world of cinema lenses and try it out to see if it's a fit for you, I can't think of another set of lenses that would be better for a budget. So start with these, and then if you absolutely fall in love with cinema lenses, then it makes sense to buy more and more expensive lenses. But if you're just starting out, this is an excellent place to start, I think. That is going to be it for my review of this line of lenses. Hope you guys enjoyed and you learned something from it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Stay tuned for more. As always, thank you so much for all of your likes, all of your comments, and your support. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.